Second UFO talk. Uh, I do want to discuss those craft that enter and exit our airspace without the government's permission. The government isn't going to admit that they exist, and that's okay. Who cares what they believe? Most of those senators and people up there are going to be gone when I'm in my 50s anyways, and when it really matters. A lot of the craft that I've been studying are bright or metallic, silvery kind of craft. Bright meaning there's some type of plasmatic behavior they exhibit. Something about them makes it to where their skin, the skin of the craft, is really hot and radiant. I don't know what that is. I don't know what causes that. But that's one thing they all have in common. Another thing they have in common is the fact that they can execute maneuvers at high rates of velocity, say around Mach 10. Not saying the speed of sound even matters to these things, but they can execute maneuvers at extreme velocity, which defy our understanding of what it means to have inertia. If a craft is traveling at Mach 10, or maybe even 30 miles an hour, okay? 30 miles an hour. If a vehicle is traveling at 30 miles an hour on the road, and it takes a sharp 90-degree turn, as if it was tracing out a corner of a square, the components inside that craft, the craft itself and its occupants, the occupants are going to be killed, because that's about as much, that's what it means to be in an accident. Turning at a 90-degree angle like that would be like hitting a wall, only worse, because the wall would be up this direction. It would be like hitting a wall over here. But these crafts can do Mach 10 and execute 90-degree angled turns. That's incredible. Okay? That means that we don't understand inertia itself. Like, our scientists are like, oh, well, Higgs boson and mass and stuff. No, they don't know what they're doing. That's political nonsense to keep the LHC bigger and bigger and bigger, to keep people's jobs. It has nothing to do with actually understanding nature at all. What really needs to happen is we need a new theory of what causes mass, and we need to attack it from the angle of studying these craft that enter and exit our airspace without the government's permission. Studying those craft is going to bring humanity to another level of understanding how nature really functions. In the past, I guess you could say the Wright brothers would be looking at birds or creatures, that flew, and they noticed patterns in them, and they created an airplane that mimicked those patterns, the lift mechanism that aerospace engineers understand, which causes flight in a medium inside of air, inside a gaseous medium. With these craft, though, the medium is something other than air, obviously. As well, the craft itself changes its actual properties to cancel the effects of inertia. Because I'm sure if you can make a 90-degree angled turn at Mach 10, there is no inertia in that craft. There's something about the material of the craft which allows it to completely cancel the inertia it would feel. In other words, cancel its mass. As well, mass cancellation is also important. Well, that would be inertia cancellation, basically the same thing. I remember reading another report of, I think it was Japanese airlines were flying over Alaska. Now those birds are pretty loud. It was flying over Alaska. This one really large walnut-shaped craft was witnessed flying in the same vicinity as a, well, I think it was a 737, or maybe it was a 747, I'm not too sure. And there were two other smaller reconnaissance craft that were flying with it. And this incident was reported and recorded on the air between air traffic control and the pilots. So what you have here is a large walnut-shaped craft that was essentially, they said it was the size of 2 aircraft carriers. Now my brother was stationed on an aircraft carrier, I think twice, the USS George Washington and the USS, can't remember the other one. Washington was the most recent one. But anyways, I've seen how large an aircraft carrier is. Now the Japanese airline pilot said it was the size of 2 of those, which means either A, the craft was made of material so light that it was lighter than air, or B, some effects that the craft could do could cancel its mass and inertia. Meaning, that thing probably weighed about, how much does the aircraft carrier weigh? About 120,000 tons? So we're looking at about 250,000 tons just moving through the air as if it's some type of, I don't even know, like, what would move through the air like that? Superman, literally, like, just completely on its own program, as if gravity doesn't even exist, okay? We need to study those types of events. We need to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, and we need to look at the clues that those people are providing us. Now, it takes a lot of courage to study these clues, and it takes a lot of energy to do so as well. But I believe if we can look at all these clues and put the pieces of the puzzle together and find where all these events are occurring, I'm not saying that they're occurring because, you know, they're trying to interact with us. No. I think they're occurring because that's just nature. You have more advanced people out there visiting us, and then they go off do their own thing. That's basically it. Visiting this star. But that's it. And we should really look at those clues being provided to us in the same way the Wright brothers looked at birds when they were developing their airplane. Only instead of looking below us at creatures that are less evolved than us, I mean, come on now. We should look up. We should look at people who have been there, done that, got the t-shirt, bumper stickers, you know what I'm saying? Those things up there are the things we should be learning from. And denying that they exist, that doesn't do anything. But what really does something is if we study them and talk about them openly, without fear of being ridiculed by people, and without fear of being told that we're idiots, or that we're crazy, or that we're stupid, that there's no evidence for them. Oh, come on now. We've known about those things for a long time now. The Air Force did studies on them, okay? They've been around since I was born, okay? Since my dad was born. Like, they've been around since forever ago. What hasn't been around, though, is our acknowledgement of it publicly, and our openly willingness to discuss these issues so that we can learn from them and we can apply what they know to our own technology, to our own understanding of the universe. Basically, I think that sums up this second UFO talk. Today is March 15th, 2015.